Mr. Corden. I'm Michelle, Anna's teacher.
Hi, Michelle. Please call me James.
Thanks for coming in today. Have a seat. So as you know, we're here today to run some training sessions for a manding program using PECs that we've developed for Anna. For our agenda, we're going to start by overviewing the manding itself, talking about the rationale for why we've chosen this program, reviewing the iPad app itself and some of the symbols, the manding and prompting process, questions. I'm going to take any from you that you have, and then lastly, we're going to discuss a follow-up plan. So as you know, Anna only has a verbal communication of around 10 known words, and she doesn't have very many tangible reinforcers that are motivating for her. However, she's very motivated by edible reinforcers, and so for this training, we're going to be training on the program utilizing edibles. The reason for choosing this program is to focus on increasing Anna's ability to mand for items that are motivating, and as well items that can be utilized in various other programs as reinforcers, and to increase the repertoire of augmentative communication that Anna is able to use. She frequently demonstrates her undesirable behaviors both at school and at home, as you've mentioned to me, when we're unable to understand what food item it is that she's requesting. And so the hope is that Anna will be able to independently request such items. So as you know, she's quite familiar with her iPad that I have here for us to use today, but she did only recently download this program. So it's called Grid Explorer, and so she's being taught how to use this. We're anticipating that she'll be quite successful as she's very proficient with many of the other programs on her iPad. So the objective that we've determined for your training sessions is to be able to run 3 manding sessions with the PEC symbols with a success rate of 90%. So the reason that this objective was determined was multifold. So first, the hope is to increase Anna's independence and decrease the frequency of her undesirable behaviors resulting from her not being understood. So we want you and Anna's other family and her support circle to be able to support her and encourage her growth and independence in a way that parallels what's going on in the school setting, in order to optimize her success. So manding was chosen in the hopes that Anna would be able to have more independence in choosing reinforcers for a lot of her programs as well, thereby increasing the motivation and the success that we have in those also. So due to Anna's proficiency with her iPad currently, we're going to begin by using verbal prompts and gestural prompts to mand using the iPad, so I'll review those shortly. The training program is going to take place here in our classroom. Ideally, I would also have some training sessions in the home setting since that's going to be the setting used by you guys. However, due to professional boundaries and the distance, how far you guys live away from the school, unfortunately, that's not possible at this time, so we'll be sticking to the classroom. So a performance checklist is utilized in order to identify to you the skills that are required in order to support Anna when we're working with her. So it's comprised of written steps for the techniques utilized, which enables us to both review your performance after the fact. And so if you want to review the checklist, it can be found right here.
Okay.
Just let me know when you're finished and then we'll carry on.
Okay. Yep.
Perfect. So the main components of the training session today are going to include instructions, modeling, rehearsals, and then feedback. So during instruction, I'm going to describe the iPad and the program that we're going to be running. During modeling, I'm going to be modeling that for you. So I'm going to be acting as the trainer and you're going to be acting as Anna. And then we're going to switch in the rehearsal training piece, and you're going to pose as the trainer and I'm going to act as Anna, using in vivo modeling to sort of simulate those situations that we'll be running the program in. Okay. And then lastly, during the rehearsal step as well, that's when I'm going to be utilizing that checklist mentally, and I'm going to be taking some notes for us to discuss after the session is finished. And then lastly, during feedback, we'll sort of discuss how the rehearsal went. I'll give positive praise for the things that were done correctly, and I'll give feedback for the incorrect responses as well. And then we'll go over the checklist, and we'll just decide our next steps for moving forward with Anna and with the training sessions. So just to go over some concepts quickly. So manding is a way of asking for something that can include signs, approximations, gestures, words, peck symbols, or any other means of communication. Augmentative communication methods are those methods of communication that are used to supplement or replace speech or writing for those who struggle with verbal language production. So that can include apps such as this, which feature the picture exchange symbol communication system. So that's a form of augmentative communication that involves using picture symbols to express oneself. So as you can see here, for Anna, we're mostly going to be using this page, which features an array of her favorite edible reinforcers. So we've actually edited this to have it tailored toward Anna. And then along the side, we have I like, I don't like, and I want. Most commonly, she's going to be using I want and pairing it with one of the edible symbols. So prompting is a tool used to move a learner from an incorrect response to a correct response. So for this training, we're using verbal prompts and gestural prompts. So verbal prompts involve telling the learner the correct response, giving a verbal cue, and then presenting the original direction again, and sometimes more than one time. So in this instance, the verbal prompt involves saying, you want crisps, or what do you want? And then the gestural prompt is basically pointing at the iPad. And reinforcement is going to be given once she's successfully manded for the item. So those are the consequences that strengthen the behavior, and those increase the likelihood that Anna will respond the same way we want her to repeatedly. So we're going to be using verbal reinforcement as well, the edible reinforcement, so the crisps in this case, that Anna is wanting to access.
Okay.
So we're going to briefly touch on an environmental variable to keep in mind during training. Ideally, any items that are used for reinforcements will be items that Anna doesn't have access to on a free day-to-day basis. So using crisps is one that's a food item that Anna doesn't have for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and she also, from what I understand, doesn't have free access to during the day at school and then at home with you. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so ideally we don't want to be leaving crisps out for Anna to access at any time. That can be as simple as putting it up in a higher up cupboard or keeping them somewhere stored away from Anna, just so that we maintain that motivating factor for Anna. As well, if the reinforcement value seems to be decreased and the chips aren't serving as motivating any longer, we can do a preference assessment to determine something that will be more motivating for Anna. So we're presenting multiple potential reinforcers and seeing which one Anna picks first. So say she picks chips first, we're going to remove the chips and then see what she picks first out of the remaining two, remove that, and then we have a desired hierarchy, you can say, to determine what's most reinforcing over a couple of trials. So for the training, which we'll get into now, so I showed you the app before, so this is what it looks like. So as you can see, there's the edible symbols, and then as well we have the I want over here. So as I mentioned, Anna's quite proficient with the iPad already, so it's anticipated that immediately she will be selecting crisps. Whatever item we've chosen as the reinforcer.
I want crisps.
And then she will most likely erase that as well because she is familiar with some other programs that are somewhat similar. So the way this program's ran, we'll have the chips out in front of her. So if I'm the trainer, I'm going to have the chips out where she can reach them, but where they are close enough to me for so that I'm able to remove the access as well. I'm going to put her iPad right in front of her. I'm going to wait until Anna reaches out to access the item. And once she does, I'm going to take the bag away. I'm going to say, what do you want? And I'm going to gesture toward the iPad, at which point it's likely that she will select, I want crisps. And then
I want crisps.
She'll likely select it once more to read it out loud. At that point, then, I'm giving her the edible reinforcer, and I'm providing verbal reinforcement as well, saying, great job, Anna, here's a crisp, and administering that. And then I'm putting the bag back where it was. I'm waiting around 5 seconds to see if she'll independently initiate that. It's quite unlikely that she will, so she'll again reach for the bag. I'll remove it, and I'll say, tell me what you want. And then likely she will have erased it, so again, she'll select, I want crisps. And then again, as soon as she asks for it, I'm providing both types of reinforcement.
Okay.
So do you have any questions about that so far?
Well, I think I understand.
All right, so that was our instruction piece. So now we're going to begin the rehearsal piece. So I'm going to be posing as Anna, and you're going to be posing as the trainer.
Okay.
All right.
Can you show me what you want, Anna?
I want crisps.
Good job. Can you tell me what you'd like, Anna?
I want crisps. I want crisps.
One more time. Okay. Can you tell me what you want, Anna?
I want crisps. I want crisps.
Good job.
Thank you. All right, good work. So now I'm going to just review the checklist quickly. I think that you did a really great job with that. The few notes that I made were just to keep in mind the prompt level that you're using. So with Anna, initially we're going to be combining the verbal prompt with the gestural. So I think on trial 1, you used the verbal prompt, but you didn't use the gestural prompt. And then I think it was on prompt 3, you used, I think, only one as well. I forget if it was the verbal or the gestural. So we just need to keep in mind to be using both, because that is the prompting level that Anna's at now.
Okay.
Or once she becomes more proficient at identifying and selecting accurately, then we'll be able to decrease and fade the prompting levels and go from the verbal and the gestural to just the gestural to eventually no prompt.
Okay.
So do you have any questions about that so far?
No, I think that's great.
No. So the other thing to keep in mind is if she doesn't, it's quite unlikely that this will happen, but if she doesn't go to select something on her own, then we're going to be moving to another higher prompt level. So the most intrusive prompt level that we'll use is a full physical prompt, and that is when we're taking her finger and we're physically guiding her to
Crisps.
I want crisps.
I want crisps.
And then we're again providing immediate reinforcement in the 2 ways.
Okay.
Did you have any other questions about the app itself?
No, I think that's great.
All right. Well, I think that was great. I think our follow-up plan should be to plan for another training session. I think we can further review some of those prompting levels and plan a time to meet again and hopefully review some more of this further, if that sounds all right with you.
Sounds great.
Great. Well,
Thanks.
thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you.
We'll see you again later.